and also pinpoint and also connected that beast to the little horn of Daniel 7. All right, also established that the fourth kingdom described in that entire chapter of Daniel 7 is also that fourth kingdom that was mentioned in Daniel chapter 2. All right, so we've established that. We don't know what the entities are. We don't know who is that fourth kingdom. We just know that they're related. All right, so we're taking this step by step. All right, so let's resume. So as we progress to, what I'm going to ask is for active participation. I'm going to be asking persons as well to look for certain scriptures, and we're going to be doing some comparisons again, just contrasting, putting things together, and coming to a conclusion. Again, that doesn't contradict the information that we would have gone through. All right. So as we progress, what we're going to be doing today is really just identifying who the first, second, and third beasts are from Daniel 7. We've established a connection with the fourth beast and the fourth metal from Daniel 2, and we're going to just go and establish now the first, second, and third. And it's important that we do that because while the beast has a mark that he's trying to give to the whole world in contradiction to God, what we're trying to do is to ensure that everything that points to this beast, all the information regarding this beast, we gather it, put it together, and translate that to our reality living in this world in history, so we can identify who that beast is or what that beast is. We do not know right now. And then from that we can establish what the mark is. All right, so that's the train of thought. That's how we're tackling it, and that's how we're progressing. All right. So just making mention that it's important to know that there's an invisible hand that's guiding history, right? Portrayed in the book of Daniel. And just to know that these beasts that are mentioned there don't conquer on their own. They don't conquer on their own. Right? God is the one that's directing things in the background, deciding who to set up, who to take down. Regardless of how strong, mighty, big, small, it doesn't matter. He's the one that's deciding all of it. Moving through the plays and counterplays of history. Right. Right. All right. So let's establish, because we have a few creatures that's mentioned in the book of Daniel, chapter 2 and 3. So I'm going to ask someone, Daniel chapter 2, verse 37, and Daniel chapter 7 and verse 4. So Peter, do for me the favor, Daniel chapter 2. And Nicole, I'm going to ask for you kindly to look at Daniel chapter 7 and verse 4. Either of you find it first, you can just take the mic and go ahead and let's read. Chapter 2 and verse 37. So we're going to look at how God is actually deciding who to set up, who to take down.
All right, so Daniel 2:37. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power and strength and glory. Continue.
No, that's it. We just want to stay there.
All right, so Daniel 7, verse 4.
Yes.
The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings, and I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it.
Right. So you realize this is describing the lion of Daniel chapter 7, right? This particular kingdom, this points to the lion, right? And this particular kingdom is being described that this happened to you. God did this to you, right? It was done to you, these things, right? So we're seeing that. Let's look at the other kingdom that came about following that lion from Daniel chapter 7. Let's look at the bear. So chapter 7 verse 5. So Nicole can continue, and Peter. 2 Chronicles 36 verse 22 to 23. 36, yeah. 2 Chronicles chapter 36 verse 22 to 23.
All right, so we're looking at the bear.
Right.
So verse 5, and behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, I devour much flesh.
All right. They said unto it. So it was not that he on his own decided. They said unto it. So in the background, God is deciding and directing. Now the command is given. Go devour much flesh. You have permission now to go devour much flesh.
All right, yeah, 20. So we're gonna Second Chronicles 36, 22 to 23. All right, so it's now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord spoken by the mouth of Jeremiah might be accomplished. The Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also in writing, saying, Thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, all the kingdoms of the earth hath the Lord God of heaven given me, and he hath charged me to build him an house in Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Who is there among you of all his people? Lord his God be with him, and let him go up.
All right, so
this
the God
was
of
a
heaven.
decree. This was a decree.
Right.
The rebuilding
And
of
he's
Jerusalem.
making mention that the God of heaven has, he realized that it's not in his own power.
Yeah, it was but through God.
Right. All right. So let's look at the third kingdom. Daniel chapter 7 and verse 6. Nicole, you can just run that for me, please. That's the leopard.
All right, so moving on to the leopard, and it says, After this I beheld, and to lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it.
Did it take dominion for itself? No, the answer is no. Dominion was given unto it. All right. Let's look at verse 11 as well for me, Nicole, please.
We're going to verse 11.
All right, verse 11. I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame.
Right. So he was slain. He was slain, and it was given to the burning flame, correct? Yeah. That's a fourth. That's a fourth kingdom. All right. And let's also look at verse 26 as well for me, Nicole.
26 says, But the judgment shall...
Oh, tell me where I left you behind. Yes. Yes. We're phone now? All right. All right, good.
All right, she's been found. Verse 20, what again?
Yes. 26.
26.
26.
But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it unto the end. That's 20.
Same Daniel 7, verse 26. The focus is just that these beasts don't conquer on their own. Something is happening in the background, determining where, how things progress, who succeeds, who does not. And we're seeing that his dominion was taken away. Speaking of the little horn, his dominion was taken away to consume and to destroy it unto the end. All right? You follow that? All right. So before we find out who the beasts are, because we're going to start going through history now. Before we find out who the beasts are, it's important to find out, when Daniel 7 was written. All right? And
The exact year?
when it was written.
Okay.
All right?
Interesting.
So, because why it's important is because God distinguishes himself from false gods. Him being able to tell what's going to happen in the future, in our futures, from the very beginning. All right? Yeah. So we're just looking at God's.
Sorry, I'm just saying it's a very interesting twist in terms of to look at it from that angle, in terms of when Daniel 7 was actually written or when Daniel 2 was written, because that's now opening up a different a level of well, a bag of worms. I like to put it as. Whereas, okay, this was written a year after, 2 years after, so it's going to now actually solidify the timeline if you actually know exactly when it was written and you can actually prove it. So
Yeah.
I want to see where this is going.
Person said that Daniel was written. Some person said that Daniel was written after the fact. That's why he was able to put so much detail and accuracy into the prophecies. Right. Right. So yeah, it's okay to make a report on something that has happened already. You can get all the details you want. But to put the same detail many centuries before it happened, that's a different story. Right. Right. Before all these nations become powerful and mighty and all these things, right? Yeah. All right. So Daniel 7 verse 1, I'm going to ask you, Nicole, you're in Daniel 7 already. You're already on location. Could you do for me verse 1?
All right, so verse 1. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters.
All right. So when was it written?
First year of King Belshazzar.
All right. Just I am sharing. Could someone assist me with? Okay. Are we all able to read, Tanisha? Are you able to read? Too small?
So Belshazzar died in what, at sea?
Circa. This is circa.
Oh,
Some
okay.
approximate fancy word that they use.
539 BC was a co-regent of Babylon who was killed at the capture of the city by the Persians.
All right. So in 539, right? What I wanted to establish is, yeah, right. So here, more focusedly. So
Where?
you can just read until the highlight.
Okay.
So Belshazzar had been known
Okay.
until.
So Belshazzar had been known only from the biblical book of Daniel, chapters 5, 7, and 8, and from Xenophon's Cryopedia until 1854, when references to him were found in Babylonian cuneiform inscriptions. Though he is referred to in the book of Daniel as the son of Nebuchadnezzar, the Babylonian inscriptions indicate that he was in fact the eldest son of Nabonidus, who was king of Babylon from 555 to 539, and of Nitocris, who was perhaps a daughter of Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah, and this last sentence in highlight.
When Nabonidus went into exile in 550, he entrusted Belshazzar with the throne and the major part of his army.
All right, so when was Daniel 7 written?
550.
550 AD, BC,
BC.
AD. All right, great. All right. So it's good to know that this was written like a long time before many, like before the first and second centuries, those times when people were claiming that Daniel had after fact.
So that was when it just started.
550, because in 550, that's when Belshazzar got the throne.
So it was written in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon.
With Nabopolassar.
We're not here on Zoom.
Right. So what we're saying is that, what Brother Michael was asking, what was it again? The 550. He was trying to verify if the 550 was the first year of King Belteshazzar. That's just really and truly, and just established there in what we just read. in Britannica that the first year of King Belteshazzar, which lines up with Daniel chapter 7 as 550 as the first year.
Right.
Yeah, it's important for us to recognize and never recognize Belshazzar as a true king in Babylon. And it's not that he was never a true king, but he was never an outright king of his own. But the only reason why he became king was that his father put himself in a self imposed exile. So he wasn't exiled by anybody else. He exiled himself to go do archaeological and religious work up in the northern region in a city known as Opis. And he went into the region of Opis and was working there. And he said, I leave the city of Babylon and the throne to your care until I get back. He exiled himself, he was self imposed. So he put himself in exile. So he moved away from the city and left that because he had an agenda. In Babylon, the Babylonian people, their main god was Bel. And that's why they call Beta. And so he was doing a lot of work to elevate the stature of the moon god because he eventually wanted the moon god to become the most prominent god in the Babylonian religious system. So he left to go pursue that and left Belshazzar on the throne. So when Medo Persia came, when they took Opis, Nabonidus was in Opis. So when they took Opis from before, when they marched down to Babylon, Belshazzar wasn't even really aware of what was going on.
Yeah, Michael.
I was just going to say it is so important for us to know this history because the Bible tells us that it was Belshazzar that the Medes and the Persians took the kingdom from. And if you go to history, people can easily say, how you come up with that? The Bible said that about history and it said this. If you go to history and you type in who was the last Babylonian king, it would have said Nabonidus.
He was official.
Yeah, it would say Nabonidus. So it's good for us to know this history because the Bible said Belshazzar and history said Nabonidus.
But this is history too, you know. Remember that's Britannica. So that's history too. So you just realize that they'll have two different because some people will only recognize one. Because truthfully in Babylon, if you go back to Babylonian writings, there were some things that Belshazzar couldn't do as the core regent, but most things he could do.
All right, let me just, Pete, I'm going to ask you again to just read for me one final paragraph regarding the same information there.
right.
Yeah, what, Brittany? Oh, yeah, what distinguishes the true God from the other falsities? From what you just read? What distinguishes the Lord Almighty from the other falsehoods?
You can tell the end from the beginning.
Yeah. Yes.
All
Okay.
right.
So we're back here. Yeah. That's what it is. All right. So yeah, you can finish. Just read this paragraph here for me, Peter.
During this, oh, okay.
Co-regency.
During his co-regency, Belshazzar administered the government, his own estates, and those of his father. Though, according to the book of Daniel, famine and economic setbacks occurred late in his rule. According to the accounts in the Bible and Xenophon, Belshazzar held a last great feast at which he saw a handwriting on a wall, following words in Aramaic: Mene mene tekel Upharsin, the prophet Daniel, interpreting the handwriting on the wall as God's judgment on the king, foretold the imminent destruction of the city. Balthazar died after Babylon fell to the Persian general Gobirus without resistance on October 12, 539. It not said BC or 80, but 539.
Yeah, they already
BC.
established it was BC before,
Okay,
so they didn't bother
and
to.
probably before the Persian king Cyrus II entered the city 17 days later.
All right, so this is just a little bit more background on Belshazzar rule until.
The issues that I'm seeing, but like that now, it said that the Persian king Cyrus,
Mm-hmm.
but Cyrus, for the first 2 years of the rule of Babylon, Cyrus was the assistant to his uncle, and his uncle's name was, well, it's in the Bible written as Darius, but his actual name, the kings have their birth name and they have their throne name. So his throne name is Darius, but his birth name was Cyaxares. Cyaxares is his birth name. So Cyaxares is Cyrus's uncle. And Cyaxares is the one that ruled for the first 2 years. And what he did was he said, I will give you, I wanted to marry my daughter. And I will give you as a dowry the entire kingdom of Medes. And that's why after he ruled, there was no other Median king. All the other kings were Persian after that, because he gave the Median kingdom to Cyrus. And so Medes became a part of Persia. And therefore, from Cyrus onwards, we're all Persian
Persians.
kings.
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much for the history, Professor. All right. So, yeah, did you answer the question, Brittany? I don't remember. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. So, it's important.
I'm sorry, it's a minor detail. So Darius is the uncle for Cyrus. Darius is Mede. He gives his daughter to Cyrus, but isn't that his?
That happened now in other some of the families, they may even know same way.
Okay.
So that's not weird. But they weren't that close though. So they were like close.
Yeah, and Israel was the one who got those commands not to do certain and certain things, not them.
Yeah, so no worry about it. Yeah, me see you gone, no worry about it.
All right, so we've established 550 BC. When Daniel wrote the record in chapter 7. All right, so let's move ahead and let's start identifying the beast and the metals found in both chapters 2 and 7. Right. So, Brittany, could you for me please Daniel chapter 2? Daniel chapter 2. All right, I'm just gonna pick out the focus verses. All right, because then the chapter is about the dream that Nebuchadnezzar got with the various metals, and we're just picking out the ones that pertain to the first metal, right? So Daniel chapter 2, 28, 31, 28, 31, 37 to 38.
37 too?
28, 31, 37 to 38.
But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets and maketh known to King Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. Verse 31. Thou, O king, sawest and behold a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible.
37 to 38, no?
Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold.
Who is the head of gold?
Babylon.
No, we're not jumping the class, all right?
Oh.
We're not jumping the class.
Nebuchadnezzar.
No, just take what the verses mention.
The
and use
king
that.
of Babylon.
King of Babylon, right? Right? Nebuchadnezzar, right? So it mentioned Nebuchadnezzar here, and he had a kingdom. Now, go to Daniel chapter 1, verse 1 for me, Brittany, please, and continue to answer this question. You know, what Daniel chapter 1 and verse 1, right? What kingdom was Nebuchadnezzar king of?
In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem and besieged it.
All right. So in chapter 2, it only mentioned Nebuchadnezzar and that he had a kingdom, but he didn't mention which kingdom he was.
Right.
So we go back to where else he was spoken of. All right. So Daniel chapter 1, verse 1, and it said that Nebuchadnezzar was the king of Babylon. All right. So the question being answered, what does the first metal, which is the gold head, represent? And the answer is that it represents the king of Babylon. All right. Now, question 2. Question as well. Another question. Right. What does the first beast, which is the lion with eagle's wings, represent? I am going to ask Nicole. No, I'm going to ask you to go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and verse 17. Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 17. Right. Remember the umbrella, what we're trying to ascertain is really who is the first metal and the first beast that's mentioned in Daniel chapter 2 and chapter 7. All right, we just established that the first metal is the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar. So we're going to find out now who the first beast is. Yeah, that Jeremiah 50 verse 17, and someone in the interim, Jeremiah 4 verse 5 to 7.
Okay, 50 verse 17 of Jeremiah. Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. First, the king of Assyria hath devoured him. And last, this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, hath broken his bones.
So what is this lion? I mean, in scripture, there are many things that represent a lion. That a lion represents, rather. Right? Yeah, but how do we know that this is the proper explanation of the lion from Daniel chapter 7?
The rule that said, if it makes good sense as it reads, then you apply it. But if not, or no, it's rule number 12 that says, if where you're reading you don't find the meaning of your symbol, then you go and apply another one at another place. And we have a number of ones, a literal lion, that does work because that doesn't read natural. It could be the lion of Judah. No, that doesn't apply there. It could be the roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. Does not apply there,
Not directly.
but this one does.
Right.
Fits like a
Daniel 7 says a kingdom. So we're looking for a kingdom.
so it fits. The puzzle piece fits in.
Yeah. Judah is possible, but remember that they were in captivity. So not them. Not that one. And it's not the animal over in the savannas either. Right. Unless they climb tree, them stand up on 2 foot, but not naturally. Not all the time. Right. Right? Yeah. So
But you know, it's funny. The gates in Babylon, when they did the excavation, they have the lion gates there
Yes.
with the same symbol that is described in the Bible.
yes, they do.
It's funny. Lion with eagle's wings is a symbol in Babylon. It was a main symbol in Babylon. It was the main gate, above the main gate, yeah.
Yes. Mhm. All right. Yeah, so this is it here from worldhistory.org. Here's a lion on the walls. Yeah, here's the lion on the walls, right? From the Ishtar Gate, entering Babylon, right? Constructed by Nebuchadnezzar, right? And so here's the lion with the wings. The wings merging with his mane. Right? You see that? See that? Yeah, it's here. It's two-dimensional. This is how they constructed it on the bricks. So here are the wings right here.
The destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. He is gone forth.
Well,
12 to 16.
All right. And it says, now in the 5th month, in the 10th day of the month, which was the 19th year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, which served the king of Babylon, into Jerusalem, and burned the house of the Lord, and the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem, and all the houses of the great men burned he with fire. And all the army of the Chaldeans that were with the captain of the guard brake down all the walls of Jerusalem round about. Then Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried away captive certain of the poor of the people and the residue of the people that remained in the city, and those that fell away, that fell to the king of Babylon, and the rest of the multitude. But Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, left certain of the poor of the land for vine dresses and for husbandmen.
So who eventually came and destroyed the city? Babylon, right? Nebuchadnezzar sent his people, right? Um, so we're finding from these two sections, two passages, that the lion represents Babylon, right? So we can conclude that so far we can conclude that the lion is Babylon, right? So we've established and found that this kingdom is who that this lion represents, all right? All right. We can continue. We can continue and find out the eagle, what the eagle's wings represent, right? Ezekiel chapter 17. Roxanne, could you for me please find Ezekiel 17 verse 1 to 3 and 11 to 12. Ezekiel chapter 17 verse 1 to 3 and 11 to 12. So we're comfortable from what we saw just now that the lion is what represents Babylon, correct? All right, great. Right, a kingdom, not an animal.
Right, said Ezekiel.
Ezekiel 17, 1 to 3, and then 11 to 12.
3. All right. So it says, "And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, put forth a riddle, and speak a parable unto the house of Israel. And say, Thus saith the Lord God, a great eagle with great wings, long winged, full of feathers, which had diverse colors, came unto Lebanon, and took the highest branch of the cedar." And then 11 to 12. "Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Say now to the rebellious house, Know ye not what these things mean? Tell them, Behold, the king of Babylon is come to Jerusalem, and led them with him to Babylon."
All right. So what is that eagle's wing ascribed to, and helps us to actually see more information on what kingdom?
Babylon.
Babylon. All right. All right. Thanks very much, Roxanne. All right. So, and there are other passages that we could look on, but we're not gonna. For the sake of time, we're not going to look at them. And the question is, as we wrap up, right? Does history? Let's look at history. And validate that Babylon is the kingdom that's ruling in Daniel's days, right? And hence, we're the first beast ruling in his days. All right. So I am going to share my screen again. And tell me when you are seeing, if you can see clearly. Yeah, it's not so clear yet.
for the prayer to close out. Father, thank you very much for giving us prophecy, your word, everything that is required for our seed and our ultimate destination. To live with you, to live with you, and we live heaven and new earth. Thank you very much for the information that we presented, both what was written in your in Holy Scripture, in record, and also man them sort of according to your own reckoning, that language of spirit, what you have mentioned and what you are doing. We pray a blessing upon the rest of this hour, and we want to keep our heart and our focus on. We thank you again for us and for them.
Mic check. Zoom, are you hearing us?
Yes, we're hearing you.
All right, so we'll be having a 10-minute break while we sort out the technical difficulties. And we must apologize for the delay. 5-minute break. All right, 5-minute break, and then we'll have Brother Sylvester come on and do his presentation. All right.